thought this welcome controller would make a real good example for refactoring, mostly because it's small enough you can really wrap your head around it, but it's got enough going on in here that will make an interesting discussion. So let's dig in. The first thing I notice is that I did a search for this GM API key. Looking for that tells me this is the only place that's used. So let's get rid of it. It adds nothing, obviously. Secondly, see, this is the action for this controller. It's the only action in this controller. All of these things, therefore, are perfect candidates. I like to make them protected. This is just kind of a good way to remember what is pertinent to being a controller and what is not. Now, Ruby does not require a return statement. The return value of the Meetup members method is the last expression evaluated in the method. So we'll just get rid of all these return. All right. Now, in the interest of the dry principle, I can notice that all of these sections of code are exactly the same thing. So I'm going to go refactor this. I'm going to extract a method out of it, and I guess I'll call this this is my request. Oh, not good. That clashes with something, so okay, we'll just go with Meetup request, and all it needs is a URL. Hey, guess what? It says RubyMine has detected 2 code fragments in this file can be replaced with a call to the extracted method. Would you like to review and replace them? I would like that very much. So I see this one looks good. I'm going to replace it. That one looks good. I'm going to replace it. Okay, so now I have a Meetup request method. And we'll stick it down here. All right. Now the third thing I want to do is this URL is just a great big ugly thing. So let's take him apart, shall we? I'm gonna get rid of it for a second. And I'm going to create a hash of params. And what I'm going to do is take this apart from being a big long ugly string. I'm going to start right here and yank that out. So I'll put that back in here inside double quotes because I'm going to do some string interpolation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this params hash into params. Literally this will take a hash and it will create params for us. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take each of these parameters or not, well, it ends up being a string, so. Order ID, desk is false, offset, 0, photo host, is public. We got format. Now that dash is going to cause us a little problem, I can tell you right off the bat, so we're going to have to go back to this syntax on this guy. This is a big, ugly list of, now, you know, you could argue that this is not totally necessary. I mean, this is a small, very small application. It's got a limited usage. But here's the thing. You know, systems have a tendency to grow. And when you start out with kind of littering it by bending the rules too much, you know, you end up pretty soon, you keep kind of glomming onto your system, and the next thing you know, you've made a great big mess. Look at that. That doesn't have anything. That's interesting. So it's always really better to try to get yourself in the habit of where you're just doing it right the first time. You know the old saying, if it's worth doing right, if it's worth doing at all, it's worth doing it right. And, you know, in that spirit, we can also kind of make things prettier by lining them up. Okay, so now that is going to be a lot nicer. Okay, now we're just going to repeat that for each of these. So I'll do that, and then I'll